Hello, flickin' fanatics. How's it going today? Welcome to another episode of News and Views. We don't need all this business on here quite yet. This will be our first episode back of the new year doing actual news topics because last week we had a really fun episode where we broke down our favorites of 2021, which was less surprising than I thought it would be considering we had like 80% of the same things on our list. But alas, it was a good time.
It was. I really enjoyed doing that, and I'll be honest, I was not prepared for us to have so many common dislikes, as well as I was really shocked that we had the number one and number two same best movies of the year, and then that we were looking forward to the exact same set of three movies for this coming year, which bodes well. Hopefully, those movies really live up to the expectation, because we've had enough of movies not doing that.
I do have to say, because it's one of the things that I mentioned, Moon Knight, there was a little 15-second teaser that just dropped a few moments ago, because this Monday, the first full official trailer will be dropping for Moon Knight, and I am very excited for that. So for those of you watching live or on the rewatch, if you are new to the channel, Scott and I, we are your source for news, reviews, and daily discourse. We are your two hosts every week, unless one of us is sick or otherwise incapacitated. And whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to the podcast on any of your favorite podcast apps, we're happy that you're joining us today and can't wait to share our thoughts with you. Thank you for always supporting us, and there's so many ways to do that, which is, of course, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and if you want to help us directly, we do have a Streamlabs link in the chat and in the description. So thank you again. As you guys saw in our opening here, we are starting a new show in February, and that is hosted by Allison Salamoni. The show is called Behavior Geekology. And if I were to try to properly sum up the show, I feel like I would fail to do so. But long story short, Allison takes a lot of her experiences and just intelligent occupational knowledge and just as a complete beeline for some of the things that we see in films like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. I believe the first episode is going to focus on some Harry Potter characters. And having had listened to the first episode, again, dropping on February 1st, it is fantastic. I cannot wait to be on it. I cannot wait for more episodes. I wish we were getting episode 2 on February 1st, but just like everyone else, I am going to wait. All right, so all that blah, blah, blah out of the way. As Scott, thank you for wearing that shirt, because there is a link to our TeePublic site, and currently we do have that design for sale. It's another way that you can support the channel and also look super fly and fresh while doing it. I didn't ask you yet, Scott, but do you have trivia today? Because I was going to write some and I didn't, so this might slowly become your thing again.
But it's I'll be honest, one of these is super easy, and two of them are not crazy hard if you are an Indiana Jones trivia fan. Are you prepared for Indiana Jones?
Now, the one clarifying thing I'll ask you, is this in or out of movie like knowledge? Is this something that happens?
Oh, this is all movie canon.
Okay.
Movie canon. This is not the TV show Indiana Jones.
Well, I just meant, like, is it something about the movie, or is it something that happens within the movie?
Both.
Okay, I might know. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, I'll start you with the easiest one first. Who plays young Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade?
It's not Lake Phoenix. That is River Phoenix.
Yes. Not Brook Phoenix either. I'm gonna give you the option to pick here. You want to go Temple of Doom or Last Crusade on your next question?
I am gonna say Temple of Doom, because I feel like that's the harder one.
It is. In Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indiana is sent to recover one of the Sankara stones that was stolen at the request of the Mayapur village shaman, Marhan. How many of the stones are there in total?
5.
Wow, nicely done. And how many have they currently found?
3.
Impressive. When I was younger and I watched the movie, I didn't realize what the kids were doing, mining. It wasn't until as an adult, I realized the kids were mining looking for the 4th and 5th stones that were hidden. Well done.
Thanks.
All right. What are the 4 trials that Indiana Jones encounters at the end of the Last Crusade?
There's like a trial of faith where he has to walk across the invisible bridge. There is like spelling the Lord's name in, is it Hebrew? Is it
Latin?
Latin. Okay. And there's obviously the choosing which is the real Grail. He chose holy. And did I already say the buzzsaw things?
Nope.
That
is it.
Okay.
That's the one where it's the penitent man will pass. So he kneels before, and the blade goes over his head, and then he rolls forward, and the other one comes through. You got all of them. Congratulations.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know the technical terms, but I remembered them. Sure did.
He had to spell Jehovah, but in Latin, Jehovah's spelled with an I.
That's right.
Well done. You got 3 for 3.
Every time somebody says Last Crusade, it's always, she talks in her sleep.
Oh, man.
All right.
The look on Indiana's face when he realizes that is...
when your dad's Sean Connery, things are going to happen.
Well, I mean, at least he's playing on a level playing field. That is James Bond that his dad is, so he's got that going for him. Absolutely. I quizzed my son the other day on what Indiana's real name was, and my kids are like, Indiana. I'm like, no. His name is Henry Jones Jr.
Yeah, we named the dog Indiana.
I got a lot of fond memories of that dog. Anyways.
All right. Well, if anyone has some more Indiana Jones trivia they want to throw in the chat, specifically at Scott, see what Scott knows. I like those.
Oh, no. I'm a Indiana Jones junkie. Now, here's a good one for you. Indiana Jones or Han Solo?
Oh, just like preference?
Yes.
Oh, man. I'm going to go Han.
That's okay. It's all right for you to be wrong on that. No, you know what? That's a really hard question
for
me.
But this way, they're both deadbeat dads.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's true. I take Indiana Jones mostly because he fights Nazis and he's an archaeologist.
Space Nazis. It's the same thing.
But he's running space drugs.
Well,
questionable pass for both because Indiana Jones also steals relics from people, and then works with a guy who sells them on the black market to museums.
It's true. It's true.
But anyways,
we're doing questionable things.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we get into the main topics, I do want to talk about today's sponsor. And no surprise, once again, it is the masterpiece, The Room, bringing us today's show. And that is just because I want to segue into something we're doing at the end of the month. So 2003's The Room, directed, written, and produced by Tommy Wiseau, is a compelling tale of love, loss, tragedy, and breast cancer. If you didn't know, the story of Johnny, Mark, and Lisa will tear you apart. The depth of emotions that Tommy's able to bring from co-lead Greg Sestero is unlike anything I have seen, or maybe the world. Anyways, mark your calendars because here on the channel we will be hosting a plethora of guests and watching The Room on Saturday, January 29th at roughly 9 p.m. PST. Join us and tell your friends, don't be a chicken. Cheep, 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 cheep. Again, that is January 29th at 9 p.m. And I got this beautiful graphic in the works here for some of the guests that we're having on the show. And no, unfortunately, just because I have Tommy Wiseau in the corner, it does not mean that we've locked him down yet. But this is an ever-growing cast of characters, so please enjoy that. I'm very excited to do that.
If you find a way to get Tommy Wiseau on the watch-along,
let me tell you something.
Legendary.
I made a post about the fact that we were doing this, and then Sean texts me and says, bro, Tommy Wiseau liked our post. And I said, what? And I instantly went over and I shot Tommy Wiseau a message. So I'm still waiting to hear back. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be legendary. Absolutely legendary. All right, let's move on to our first topic today. As if you guys saw the image here, you can guess what it's going to be. And that is our first look at Leslie Grace suited up as Batgirl. Let's bring this image up again. Boom, there she is, a nice purple and yellow, very reminiscent of the New 52 and some of the more recent comics appearances of Batgirl. And as everyone was questioning, we are getting the red hair. It's a good look. I like it. Scott, what do you think of the suit?
Looks awesome. I really like the dark blue, almost purple, with the dark blue yellow. Love that combination. It's one of the better looks for Batman in the comics, especially with the black in comics. To be able to offset that, the blue really helps kind of bring stuff out. And I love that they took that visual and brought it to the screen. I think it looks great. Again, we say this all the time. The thing that matters most in all of these things is what hits the screen. Is the product that comes out and is released quality? If that's there, awesome. You can have a killer looking suit in a crappy show and it means nothing. So
And
it's getting the combination.
This is going to be one of the first like big HBO Max exclusive movies. Like it's not going to be a day and date theater and HBO Max. It's strictly HBO Max. However, we are getting Michael Keaton's Batman again, hot off the Flash, but also J.K. Simmons' Commissioner Gordon.
Mm-hmm. Well, now we're tying in all the different universes together into one big thing.
Yeah, they should put a M in the DCEU, so it's like DC extended messy ass universe, because it sure is getting confusing. But back to the suit, because that's what we're
the suit is fantastic.
About. I like it. I really like Leslie Grace and what I saw of her in the Heights. I believe she played Nina. She was a highlight in there. She has been all over social media, just absolutely embracing the role with a lot of fervor, and I love to see that. For me, when you get a Batman movie, one of the things it hinges on is obviously great storytelling. That comes first and foremost, but the secondary thing is great fighting, choreography, and intensity. But Batgirl also has the advantage of you can have a bit of is levity the right word I'm looking for? Maybe not, but like you can have some laughs, you can have some fun, you can play with the Bat universe, I think, in a Batgirl movie. And then there was a set photo that came out a few days back it was like Michael Keaton's Batman on this mural, like a brick mural that they were working on the set, but it had a Robin with it. And now we never saw Michael Keaton's Batman with a Robin. And it's definitely not Chris O'Donnell's Robin because it is a younger kid. So I wonder what this is going to do. Is this going to, for the first time ever, strictly separate the timeline between Schumacher's Batman and Tim Burton's? So it's like Michael Keaton, it's Batman 89, Batman Returns, and then like whoop, the Flash.
I think that'd be the best way to do it in order to establish a new timeline for everything. The hard part is when we're playing with all these different timelines is trying to keep stuff straight. But I do want to say that I think of all the different fans out there and all the different groups who are most forgiving of timeline alterations, it's comic book people, because comic books literally have so many different universe iterations and timelines that
DC has been kind of a normal three times. DC's been rebooted like 3 times in the last 15 years. I'm looking forward to this. I'm curious. I think when I look at the suit, it both looks accurate, but it also looks like it could be CW-ish, but like a little better than CW-ish. But I think the fact that you have Michael Keaton and J.K. Simmons, I would hope is proof in the pudding, and that is something I want a trailer soon. They've been filming for a little bit.
I feel like having J.K. Simmons and Michael Keaton means that they're not skimping on the budget for this. They're bringing in better actors and cast. Also, looking a little closer at the the actual live action image, I like the texturing, like on
Yes.
the cowl, the texturing of the material
It
looks
does
really
look
good.
like something that she could move in a little more than maybe like traditional leather. Like it looks kind of padded
Mhm.
and a little
Yes.
little looser fitting, which is good. Anyways, yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think of this suit. I think it looks pretty solid. All right, we can now move on to something that Scott. I have no idea what your feelings are about this, but we are going to talk about the Real Steel announcement on Disney Plus. Now, Real Steel was a movie that released in 2011, starring Hugh Jackman, Evangeline Lilly, and Anthony Mackie. So Marvel stars aplenty, and it was directed by, I believe, Sean Levy, and he is coming back to work on the Disney Plus series. Um, Seems a little out of nowhere. I think I enjoyed the movie. I've never revisited though. I saw it once and I went, okay, Rock'em Sock'em Robots with a little bit of heart and soul. I like it. Scott, how did you feel about Real Steel?
Saying it's surprisingly a little, it got you a little more pulled in emotionally than I was expecting for the movie. But basically, Rock'em Sock'em Robots on the big screen with giant robots. Not quite robot jocks from back in the '80s, but with robots in the ring. I think the concept was really cool. I really enjoyed the movie. It's not one of the greatest movies, but it's not trash either. It's kind of a midline movie. You can watch it, you can enjoy it. The question will be, how do they parlay that into a full series? The to take something that was a movie and then try and convert it over to a full series, you've got to develop a lot more storylines, a lot more things behind it. Are they going backward in time? Are they going to carry forward from where they were at? Um, are they going to go to the origins of how robot jocks stuff kind of even um, came about, or not robot jocks, Real Steel, how the robot boxing came about? So I'm curious. It was not something I really like. If you had asked me things I wanted to see in a series on Disney, I don't think or Real Steel was the one that I would have been like, ooh, let's go revisit this piece. But cool. I'm I'm excited to see it. If the first couple episodes are good, I'll get invested.
Yeah, I think I fully agree with that. I wonder if we're going to get if it's going to be something that just exists in this Real Steel universe, or if it's going to have any direct ties to the movie. Now, I know I have group of friends and a lot of people on Twitter showing a lot of love for the concept of this coming back. I didn't realize it was so beloved. I just went to look up on Rotten Tomatoes because I was curious, and it's kind of sometimes a fair spectrum for how the audience feels. And critic score is 60%, audience 73. It's a little lower than I thought, but fairly close. And I'm wondering what caused them to really bring this franchise back. I was reading through the article and they said it once Real Steel came on Netflix, it kind of found a new life and got a bunch of new viewership and things like that. So I will give this a shot. I don't know if it's going to be for me, but more content is always a cool thing as long as it's quality, right?
Well, listen, I think there was a window of time in I want to say early 2000s, when seeing robots beat each other up. Sci-Fi Channel, Discovery Channel, there's many channels who had different Metal War type things where you'd build your own little robot and you'd pit it against another
Oh
team.
yeah. I know
And
what you're
so
talking
there
about.
was a window of time where this was a really big thing. Seeing robots fight each other was a big thing, and people loved it. And so this was kind of a futuristic look at what if we had like full humanoid robots, like cyborg style, but at the command of a human to be able to battle it out. It was a great concept at the time, and it even led to some other things. So the fact that they're revisiting it, maybe they're trying to tap into that nostalgia portion, but also weirdly, humans love fighting. I can't imagine
What?
why. We've always been ones. Battle bots. Thank you, Garth. We've always been ones that want to sit around the arena and watch gladiators go at it. Robots, you don't have to see humans get hurt. It's cool, great. We can see we get to see. Yes, Grant Imahara. Oh man, he was so good at that stuff. But to see the action, see the fighting. But the coolest thing about that is we got to see technological innovation. Right, we got to see people really bringing engineering on another level, and that's one of the cool things. It's that idea of what could we make possible, as long as we don't give it sentient abilities to where then it can start deciding who to walk out of the ring and start punching. That's all that matters. We don't need one of those walking around rogue down the street.
No, I think what could be interesting is one of the benefits of doing Disney Plus series, things we've seen with like Boba Fett and Mandalorian, is something where we can actually explore the world more than we're allowed to do in the filmscape. And so I think if we could explore some of the grime, some of the underworld, some of the, I'll say like nasty parts of, it'd be like some underground boxing and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of really interesting things that you could do. And you really don't have to follow the movie at all. I would be interested in exploring the world further. And again, curious what you guys think. If you haven't already, we do have a poll going in the chat right now that you can just let us know what you're most looking forward to out of this lineup. And with that, we can move on to sticking with Disney Plus, but we're going to move on to our final topic here, and that is getting my banners proper. Here it is. Santa Claus is coming to town. So we're gonna. It's a little bigger banner than I have space for, so I'm gonna drop that banner. Tim Allen is going to be returning for the Santa Claus Disney Plus series. Now, I don't know about you, but the Santa Claus is something that is near and dear to my heart. At least the first movie is, and it was one of the things I definitely jumped on watching this year. I do think it's a sliding scale a little bit. First one's the best, second one's pretty good, and the third one exists. But what do we think about the concept of Tim Allen returning to form? He's definitely the right age to continue playing Santa Claus.
Well, listen, I'm with you. Santa Claus 1 is one of the best Christmas movies across the board. Outstanding. Every year it is a family tradition to watch that as a group. Santa Claus 2 we watch as a group. I don't think we ever turn on number 3. We pretend that doesn't exist.
Now, with 1 and 2 real quick, and
with that being said, this is similar for me to Home Alone, where Macaulay Culkin is Kevin McAllister. The other iterations don't matter; they're not good at all. And this is one of those things where I feel like if you're going to redo it and you're going to reboot it or carry it forward, you have to have Tim Allen. Otherwise, it's not the Santa Claus. It just isn't. So if they're going to do this, great. The one thing that bothers me is I really I'm not a fan of when they go back and instead of creating something new and creative and coming up with an original concept, they dip back in the well and they try and rehash things, mostly because for somebody who's nostalgic like myself, I don't like to see my favorite things from when I was younger abused. And so this one I am guarded against just because I don't want to lose the perception of how much I loved the Santa Claus, because my kids even love that. And I don't want them to see this new version and go, oh, that's not that good. But I tell you what, even if it's trash, it'll be better than Christmas Chronicles.
Oh my! How did they make a second one of those? Like that is another topic.
First Christmas Chronicles is okay, but yeah, going back and making another one, But I am growing the beard so that I can play Santa at Christmas next year.
There you go. Luckily, we got you can put a Santa hat on to kind of block off that shiner that you got on top there.
Is that better?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got some glare in the camera screen. I am interested about this. I'm guessing it would just be a limited series that they do during Christmas. I think this is something you could definitely get away with doing, like 5 episodes or something, and maybe be like the stress of Christmas prep with Santa Claus. And do you think we're going to get any of the returning cast of characters as far as the like? You got Tooth Fairy, Mother Nature, Easter Bunny, and all those guys.
Totally. To be honest, in my head, as soon as I saw this, what I figured they would do, because Disney is one to want to always try and find a way to pass the baton and set it up for a future run. And so the idea that they would find a way to pass the baton to his son and have him carry it forward. I
That's
think that's
true.
probably what we'll see is a way for Tim Allen to step away from having to be the Santa Claus, and giving over the authority and the responsibility to the next generation.
And one of the only things we know here is that I believe the writer behind Last Man Standing, Kevin Hinch, or executive producer and writer, will be doing some work on the show now. I've watched some of Last Man Standing, and not all the humor is, I think, directly targeted for me, but I think at times that can be a pretty funny show. And so I'm wondering if we're going to get almost a Christmas sitcom-y vibe with Santa Claus, and I don't know if that would work, but maybe it's a completely different approach. But is it Home Improvement with
I completely looked past. I didn't read Garth's comment, but season 1 ends with his son killing him to take over the family business. I think Disney would go more with the passing the baton than necessarily seeing his son take him out in order to become Santa Claus.
That's the HBO Max edition of the series.
Are they also still going to try and show Barnabas as a child and bring back the same actor? Because elves don't age. And by the way, I love when he calls him Barabbas. So I'm curious about it, but the real question for me is, are they going to do one of these things where it's about setting it up for long term so that they can continue to dip to the well? Because Disney loves to hit the cash cow over and over and over again and keep tapping into the things they know. The cash clause, yes. They keep reaching into the stocking, pulling out more dough because there's always one more gift at the bottom, right? It's a little ridiculous in my opinion, which is why I'm guarded, because I'm not a fan, and I know we disagree. It's kind of like Hocus Pocus to me. Let it lie. Hocus Pocus is one of the best Halloween movies ever made. And it is also a family tradition. We watch that and carve our pumpkins every year. It is tradition.
For me, the difference is I've always wanted another Hocus Pocus. Like the entirety of my life, I was done with Santa Claus, but I'm going to keep eyes, ears, and maybe heart open for this upcoming show. So with that, we're clipping right along. We're just at the 30-minute mark. We're ready to go into our final bit of conversation, which is what we have been reading and watching the last week. And it is about to be Schmodown season for me, so I have a very targeted group of films that I have been starting to look at here that I'll be discussing. But Scott, I want to start with you. Have you been hitting any Audible? What have you been watching with the kids, the wife? What's been going on?
Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I've also I'm now almost done. I'm halfway through the last portion. So book 6 of the Return, or of the Lord of the Rings, which is the second half of Return of the King, and plowing through that. But then my wife and I personally watched Saving Private Ryan last week for no reason other than I saw it come up on Amazon. I saw it come up on Amazon Prime, and I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll watch that. And man, I forgot how incredible that movie is. It's always has been ranked as one of the top war movies you could ever see. But man, it really brings home how incredible the things there, the job that soldiers did, and the just insanity of war, especially in World War II. And it's an incredibly moving movie. So we watched that, and then my wife and I have been going back and forth between Hostile Planet and Welcome to Earth with Will Smith. So Bear Grylls does Hostile Earth,
yeah,
and Welcome to Planet Earth with Will Smith. Both shows are very good, but you better be prepared for Hostile Earth. They show the reality of what survival for animals is like, and if you don't want to see a geese fall off a 400-foot cliff and bounce, don't watch.
No thanks. No thanks.
It's really hard to digest. My wife was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's still 2 more birds. And they both had to do it. Oh.
The only way I can watch clips like that is when they are narrated by Aussie Man. Have you ever watched those?
Yes. Yes.
I can watch anything as long as he narrates it. I could probably watch the brutal scene in Saving Private Ryan with the Aussie man narrating over the top of it.
Oh, dude. It's
So for
yeah.
me,
So what about yourself?
I have been watching. So my wife is having me slowly make my way through watching Psych, and I just now, after getting quite a ways through season 1, finally have the theme song stuck in my head of "I know, you know, I'm not telling the truth," and that's stuck in my head every day. I have started rewatching because they are on the Inner Geekdom list for the Schmodown study this year. Rewatched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 1995, which is just one of my favorite films that I don't think I watch enough in my life. When I watched it, I was like, oh, all the nostalgia just rolling in. It's so good, bad.
Can I tell you something? I saw that in the movie theater. And remember, I'm a decade older than you are. So I was 14, whereas you were 4. Or no, you were 2. Oh my gosh, I'm more than a decade older than you. I remember seeing that on the big screen in the theater.
Do you know
and
what?
Thinking this is incredible.
It's damn fun. That's a damn fun movie. It's
Absolutely.
honestly, the writing it knows exactly what it is. There's not a moment of that film that is confused about what its identity is. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is incredible. Garth McMurray saying, "What if Ozzy Man narrated Requiem for a Dream?" Oof.
Wow. That might make that movie better.
And last night we watched the Power Rangers reboot, the 2017 one, which I am a avid defender of. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought they found a really great balance between the corny cheesiness of the original source material while trying to bring something new and grounded to the franchise. Before that, we were doing a Mummy rewatch because they were on the Inner Geekdom list and have since been removed. So I wrote hundreds of questions for no reason. There's been a lot of stuff that happened, but yeah. Anyway, so I watched The Mummy. I watched The Mummy Returns. We were going to then move on to Scorpion King and on through that, but now I have no particular reason to study the movies, and I already watched the 2 better ones, so I will not be
now
watching.
The newer one, is that the one with Oscar Isaac as the villain? Just joking, because he looked like Apocalypse.
Okay. You know what? It's a little early yet. I finished this, but I'm waiting for it to kick in. Oh, by the way, today's episode is actually brought to you by the new Monster flavor, Ultra Peachy Keen. This is delicious.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Drop cases of that at Jesse's doorstep. Thank you, Monster.
There you go. If you guys want to donate to Streamlabs, I can tell you right where it's going. Boom, case of one.
You got to stay hydrated, I think is what that'll do for you. I just remember the very first X-Men Apocalypse first look with purple with purple Apocalypse, and everyone immediately drug it over to pair him up with Power Rangers, and I was like, oh man, this is bad.
Hang on, I'm bringing it up right now. Scott, anything else you watched? Scott, give me a second to get this image.
Well, I think I talked about it last week, but we watched the Harry Potter reunion, Return to Hogwarts, which was very well done. Too many movies do reunions poorly. Not movies, but even shows. They do reunions poorly. And there's 2 ways you can do a reunion. You can bring everyone back in and have an episode as though, hey, these characters have just aged this difference, and we're going to have a regular episode, and it's fun to see them back in their characters. Or we have a reflection. And this was a reflective type that they did with yes, that is so good. But they did the reflective part of it, and it was incredibly well done because you got to remember those characters spent 10 years together, basically building a life. They were 11, they were in their 20s when they stopped. So that was really enjoyable. Oh, and lastly, my daughter fell in love with the movie Old Yeller, and so she keeps wanting to watch that. And if you want to keep, and she's even tough enough and sits there and watch. She understands because we have a farm, we have animals. She understands that animals die sometimes. We've also lost the dog, and so she gets it. No, she gets emotional at it, but at the same time, she understands. But she loves just how good of a dog that Old Yeller is. And while it's really hard at the end,
I'd compare that to how many times I've watched Logan. That is actually soul torture, but I just keep doing it.
Yep, it's one of those things. But it's, oh my gosh, Logan, what a masterpiece of a movie.
That's still one of my probably top 10 movies in the last decade. Just saying a lot. All right, well, that is kind of wrapping up the show here. So really quick, one more time, I want to go over some of the things that we have coming up here. As you saw in the beginning, we have a new show coming to our audio platforms, and that is Allison Salamoni's Behavior Geekology. First episode coming out February 1st. Let's bring that graphic up again. And drop. I got a lot of things open right now. There we go. Look at that. Allison Salamoni's Behavior Geekology, and that gives you an insight look onto characters, the reasons for doing things, and doing a deep dive into various movies and franchises, whether it be Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and we are just a couple weeks away from that first episode. Looking forward to it. I can tell you right now, it is incredible. And also at the end of the month, that would be January 29th, there is a watch along for The Room. And look at that. We got Adam Collins making an appearance. We got Jeff Alterman, myself, Sean Wingblade will be getting a thumbnail on there at some point, Rachel Silverstream, Mark Knopic, Allison Salamoni, and we're pulling for Tommy Wiseau, but we don't know if that's going to happen. So,
can I just say, if Tommy Wiseau can pull off that movie, why don't you and I write a script and randomly start filming it? And over the next couple of years, while we do this show, we'll just put together some terrible movie and then release it and see if it becomes a cult classic.
Yeah, I think there's so many circumstances that go into that. And what I'm trying to see is because half of this group has never seen the film, and which has me so incredibly excited. I want to see if 2 weeks after we can do a watch along for The Disaster Artist with the same group. I think that would be a lot of fun. But thank you, everybody, for joining us on the show today, especially Scott. Thank you so much for always being accountable, on time, and with us on the show. Leave a comment down below letting us know if you thumbed up the video or became a new subscriber. Subbing to the channel guarantees you weekly movie news discussions, late night water cooler talks, which we're working on getting back on the schedule. Sorry, it's been a few weeks without the speakeasy. And with that, we just ask that you always remember to keep it real. You're the best. You're the reason we do all this stuff. And until next time, we'll be seeing you.
This is the sound of dun, 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 dun. It's the Flick and Reel Show.